Good morning students. We are moving forward with the same chapter, that is evolution. Yesterday we talked about the different theories that were given by different scientists to explain the origin of life on earth. Most of the theories, they were accepted by some of the individuals. These theories were rejected also. Now after all these theories, there came a main theory that is known as modern theory, or you can say chemical theory. This theory was given by two scientists again to explain how life originated on the earth. See, last time we talked about one theory, that was theory of spontaneous generation. What this theory of spontaneous generation was saying, that life has originated from non-living material. And many scientists like Francesco Redi was there, Spallanzani was there, Louis Pasteur was there. By their experimental proof, they rejected this theory of spontaneous generation. But in modern theory or chemical theory, again two scientists came with the same idea, that life has originated from the non-living matter. It is not exactly similar, identical with the theory of spontaneous generation. There are differences, but still this theory is saying is that life has originated from the non-living matter. These two scientists were Oparin and J.B.S. Haldane. They two were working independently, not together, in 1923 and in 1928. So Oparin was working independently and J.B.S. Haldane also, and they came with one single idea. And what was the idea? They said that yes, life has originated from non-living material. And reason behind this is because today the conditions, the environmental conditions that are present on the earth, these are far much different from the environmental conditions that are present on the primitive earth. So they said that yes, life has originated from non-living material because the primitive earth conditions, environmental earth conditions were completely different as we are having today, and that environment was facilitating the formation of new life form from the non-living material. But if we talk about today's environment, our today's environment is not, you can say, favoring the formation of new life form from the non-living material. This was the idea they put forward. So they gave some of the statements in their modern theory, or you can say chemical theory. What these statements were, the first thing they said, that is today's environmental conditions are completely different from the primitive environmental conditions that were present on the earth. So conditions are different. Then primitive earth's environment. Another thing they said, that is that environment, that primitive environment was favoring the formation of new life form from the non-living material. So primitive environment favored formation of new life from non-living matter. Again, the third statement they gave was that earlier the earth atmosphere, or you can say the earth environment, was a reducing one. We already have discussed about this thing, that oxygen was not present, hydrogen was present, so there was a reducing environment. If oxygen is not present, that means simply oxidation is not going to take place. So most of the substances that are going to form, they will not be destroyed or degraded by the process of oxidation. So this reducing environment was favoring formation because degradation was not there. Another thing they said, that is earlier the temperature of the earth was very high, there was so much heat on the earth's surface. Later on, when earth start cooling down, at that time different atoms, they come in contact with each other and it leads to the formation of simple inorganic molecules. So atoms combine together to form inorganic molecules. Simple inorganic molecules. Later on, these simple organic molecules combined with each other, bond formation take place and they lead to the formation of simple organic compounds. We will talk about these steps when we are going to talk in detail about this theory. So these simple organic compounds again led to the formation of complex organic compounds. And these complex organic compounds, they came together, formed a aggregation, leads to the formation of first primitive cell. First primitive life form, and later on the first life form that came into existence. So this is how they explained the whole process, that this might have happened during the process of evolution. Another statement they said, that is again, if the molecules, they are combining together, bond formation is there, then there must be a source of energy. So again here also this talked about the UV radiations. That were coming from the sun, acting as a source of energy. There was lightning, thunderstorm. So all these things acted as a source of energy, and this is how these molecules combined together to form the first life form. This is how Oparin and Haldane, they gave their idea that life has originated from the non-living matter. So what they wanted to say is that initially in the earth reducing environment, life has originated from the non-living material. That means abiogenesis has taken place, but today in present environment, in present conditions, the new cell, or you can say the new life, always forms from the pre-existing life. That simply means, if I consider two time period, the primitive earth, completely different environment, and present day, present earth. So what happened in primitive earth? Primitive earth supported abiogenesis. Abiogenesis means that life form came from non-living material, leads to the formation of life form. This is what abiogenesis stands for. So this thing was only possible in the primitive earth environment. But if we talk about today's present earth environment, here the new life always comes from the pre-existing life, is giving to new life form. So these are the two statements that were given by Oparin and Haldane, and the reason which they gave is simply the environmental conditions that differ in that time period and in today's time period. So this was the theory, the modern theory, or you can say chemical theory. Let's talk about the steps. See, one more thing is needed to differentiate between theory of spontaneous generation and modern theory or chemical theory. Both the theories are saying that life has originated from non-living material, but the difference is this modern theory is saying that life has originated from non-living materials in a stepwise process and it has taken billion of years. So it was in a long time period. But what spontaneous theory is saying, it is saying that life has originated from non-living material either in few days or you can say in few hours. So in very short period of time. So they were not explaining the steps that has happened. That's why this is more widely acceptable as compared to the theory of spontaneous generation. So if we talk about the steps of theory of spontaneous generation, the first step was there was formation of inorganic molecules. Inorganic molecules. So what was there? Earlier earth was very hot. So this so much heat is not allowing the bond formation, means whenever the atoms are combining together bonds were formed, this heat was responsible for the breakdown of the bonds. But as soon as the earth start cooling down, this decrease in the temperature leads the atom to form bonds between them, and these atoms combined together, bond was formed and lead to the formation of simple inorganic molecules. And we think that these simple organic molecules were gases. So firstly gases were formed. These were methane, ammonia, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, water vapors. So because of bond formation, because of decrease in the temperature, these were the inorganic molecules that were formed earlier. Now again the second step is, now these inorganic molecules again involved in bond formation, they come in contact with each other and they lead to the formation of simple organic molecules. Simple organic molecules. So by combining these different gases in different proportion, simple organic molecules were formed, and these simple organic molecules were, they were fatty acids, glycerol, sugar, amino acids, organic acids like purines and pyrimidines. Organic bases like purines, pyrimidines. So these were the simple organic molecules that were formed. Again the source of energy which acted was the UV radiations, lightning, there was heat also. So volcanic eruptions were also there. So these were acting as the source of energy and they helped in the combining of these molecules. Now later on these simple organic molecules, they combine together to form the complex organic molecules. One thing we need to remember is that formation of these simple organic molecules, they are supported by two things. Two factors supported their formation. First thing was that no life form was existing. If no life form is existing on the earth's surface, that means the chances of their degradation and breakdown, that is not possible. If some life form would have existed, then that life form would have consumed these simple organic molecules. So because no life form was there, that means no consumption was there. So this thing was favoring the formation of these organic molecules. And the second thing is again the reducing environment. because there was no oxygen. So no oxidation of these simple organic molecules took place. So they were preserved, and these two factors were favoring the formation of simple organic molecules. What happened then? These simple organic molecules formed the complex organic molecules. See, this is, we can understand this thing in form of a story, because we are having various assumptions that okay, this has happened, after that this must have happened. So we are having a sequence of events, a hypothesis that these were the things that were happening in a sequential manner. See, the formation of simple organic molecules, this step was experimentally proved by two scientists. The theory was given by Oparin and Haldane, and their theory was experimentally proved by two scientists, Miller and Urey. So it is also known as Miller and Urey experiment. What is the background of their experiment? It was very simple. They just created a apparatus, a glass apparatus, and in this glass apparatus they created all the primitive environment that was present on the earth. So they created all the conditions that were present earlier, and they tried to form the organic molecules from again the inorganic substances. This is what Haldane was explaining in his theory, and the same thing they did in their experiment. So what they did in their experiment, they made a apparatus that was made up of glass, and in that apparatus they made different chambers, and these different chambers were performing as different parts that were present on the primitive earth. Like gases were there, then we talked about that condensation happened, cooling happened, so a condenser was present. And one more important thing I forgot to tell, that the formation of these simple organic molecules, the place where these simple organic molecules were formed were ocean. So all the reactions, they took place in the ocean. The gases that were present, they came down, they condensed when rain was there. So all these inorganic molecules came in the ocean when there was rainfall, and there they combined together to form the simple organic molecules. So they created everything, a mixture of gases, atmosphere, then a condenser, then a ocean system was also created. So for this they made a glass flask, and this glass flask was attached with a condenser. So this is the condenser. There is inlet and outlet of cold water that is acting as a condenser. First let's talk about this glass flask. This glass flask was having gases that were present in the primitive environment. These were methane, ammonia and hydrogen in a ratio of 2:1. So this is how this glass flask was having mixture of gases that were present in the primitive environment plus electrodes as a source of energy. What they did, they provided electric current. So electrodes were there. Now moving to the next system. They made a system that was appearing as ocean. So they made another flask, and this flask was placed on a hot plate. This is the hot plate. and this flask is having water. And again this water was moving upward. In form of vapors. Like this way. So this was the condenser. Here boiling water was there because hot plate was there. Now water vapors were rising. This is acting as a ocean system. This is the condenser and this is the gas flask. And these electrodes were responsible for the generation of electric current at almost 7000 ampere. So it is 75,000 volts. So this was the electric current. Now what they did? This was the combination of gases that were present on the primitive earth atmosphere. Exactly same composition they took in this glass flask. Then they allowed this glass flask to enter into this condenser. So when it was entering into the condenser, it leads to the cooling down, and then it is going to enter into this ocean system. This is the ocean system, the hot ocean. Again there was so much heat in the atmosphere on the earth's surface. That means ocean was also at a high temperature, so it was almost boiling water. So the water vapors were at 800 degree Celsius. They were allowing these gases to pass through this environment, and with a very high voltage that was earlier provided by the lightning and UV radiations, and this is how they set up their apparatus, and this was working continuously for 18 days. After 18 days, what they find out that this gas flask is containing various simple organic molecules. So these gases were allowed to combine with each other in the same environment that was present on the primitive earth surface, and these leads to the formation of simple organic molecules. So this is how Miller, they again identify these simple organic molecules with various techniques like chromatography was done, and they find out that yes, they find out some amino acids, some organic bases also over here. So they experimentally proved that mixture of these gases has led to the formation of simple organic molecules, and this must have held earlier also. So this is how Urey and Miller proved the formation of simple organic molecules from the inorganic substances in the primitive earth atmosphere. Now these simple inorganic substances, they must have led to the formation of complex organic substances. So these complex organic substances were formed by the combining of simple organic substances. The sugars combined to form the polysaccharides. Amino acids we know combine together to form proteins. Fatty acids and glycerol leads to the formation of fats, then organic bases. They combine together to form nucleotides, and these nucleotides combine to form the nucleic acids. So this is how, by the combination of simple organic substances, various complex organic substances were formed, and from the formation of these complex organic substances we try to understand that these complex organic substances might have combined, aggregated together in a specific form, and these were the starting point for the formation of new life form. Again, various scientists, they gave various ideas, experimentally proved various things to explain that how these complex organic substances were responsible for the formation of new life form. So one of the such scientists was Fox. What Fox did? Let's talk something about Fox experiment. He simply worked on amino acids. Fox was working on amino acids. What he did, he heated up the amino acids at a temperature of almost 130 to 180 degrees Celsius and led it to the formation of polypeptides. We know polypeptides are formed from the amino acids. Now the molecules which he got, he called these molecules as microspheres, which were very small in 1 to 2 micrometer in their size, and these were very small. So these microspheres were formed from the amino acids, heating up of the amino acids. When he talked about these microspheres, these were very small in size, so he explained that these were the cells, or you can say these were the primitive structures that led to the formation of new life form. But we know that if we are having a living form, that is responsible for the process of reproduction, but in microspheres no reproduction was observed. So later on they worked on another different things, and they led to the formation of one another spherical structure, that was coacervate. So Fox along with Oparin, they worked together, and they said that the colloidal, or you can say simply the organic, complex organic molecules, they formed intramolecular bonding with each other, they come in contact with each other, and they lead it to the formation of a colloidal aggregate, and this colloidal aggregate is known as coacervate. They were simply trying to find out that structure, that primitive structure which has converted into the new life form. So earlier Fox was talking about microsphere, but microsphere was not having all the characteristics that could give rise to a new life form. So next they talked about coacervates. These coacervates are formed by the intermolecular bonding between the complex organic substances, and these complex organic substances led it to the formation of a colloidal aggregate, and they called this colloidal aggregate as the coacervate. What another thing they told about this coacervate is that proteins were there, because proteins, amino acids led it to the formation of proteins. So because of the ionic distribution on the proteins, there was a layer of water that was formed around these organic substances. So interiorly this coacervate was having all the complex organic substances, and outerly it was surrounded by a layer of water. So this layer of water was acting as a protective membrane, and this is helping these complex organic molecules to come in more close proximity with each other, and more chances of chemical reactions were there. More closer they will come, there will be more chances of chemical reaction. So they said that chemical reaction might have happened between these complex organic molecules. Because there were chemical reactions, so they required to take some of the substances from the environment. So there was entry of some of the substances and the wastes were removed out from these structures, and it led to this chemical reactions and intake of substances leads to the increase in the size of these coacervates, and when they were continuously increasing in their size, this lead to their division. Because of more increase in their size, it led to division. They started dividing themselves by a simple method, that was budding. So they were showing the process of reproduction, and these coacervates were the first structures which came into existence, and they give rise to the primitive life form that is known as eubionts. So these coacervates led to formation of eubionts, and these eubionts are not the actual life form, these were the primitive life structure that has given rise to a true living form. So these coacervates led to the formation of primitive life form, and we are calling this primitive life form as eubionts. Now we know this coacervate chemical reactions were taking place in this coacervate. There was exchange of material also, so metabolic activities were going on, but there was not a control point for these metabolic activities. So it is supposed that for the controlation there was formation, the charge was took by nucleic acids. So nucleic acids took the charge and they controlled the whole metabolic activities and growth of this coacervate, that led to the formation of eubionts. So now metabolic processes were there, growth was there, but that was in a regulated manner, that was in a controlled manner, and it was controlled by the nucleic acids. And again further, this primitive life form, this eubiont, converted into the first living form. Again various things are missing. So these things must have taken place in a sequential manner, so that this eubiont will be changed into the first living form. One thing was nucleic acids were formed. The first nucleic acid that was formed was RNA, and later on DNA was formed. Because of very high temperature, there were changes, mutations that took place in DNA. The favorable mutations, they were continuously selected, and the mutations which were not very good, they were left behind, they were rejected. Now most important thing here was that enzyme should be required for various metabolic activities. We are having evidences that RNA is functioning as a enzyme that we call as ribozyme. So initially it was that RNA was acting as a catalyst for the reactions, behaving as an enzyme, but later on proteins, accidentally a protein start acting as a catalyst, and this function was took over by the protein. So proteins started behaving as enzymes, and this speeded up the metabolic reactions, and later on the biomembranes were formed. Proteins and lipids. they combined together and formed the biomembrane, which allowed some of the substances to enter and rest of the substances are not allowed to enter. This is how formation of biomembrane took place, and because of these things, the new things that were added on, this eobiont was converted into the first living form. So there were certain sequence of changes which took place, and finally the first life form was formed. Now next time we will discuss about what are the first life form that was formed, what was the nature of this life form, and how further evolution took place in this first life form.